Amazon Alexa devices.
And now, it's Coast View with Ricky Mathews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Welcome to Coast View, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making Mississippi and especially coastal Mississippi a better place to live, work, and play. Welcome to a special live edition of Coast View, a Hurricane Ida edition. We're going to be joined today by Sean Tindell, the Commissioner of Mississippi Department of Public Safety. We're also going to have Mike Smith, the Mayor of Waveland, and I'll also be joined by Mike Davis from coastal Mississippi, who's going to tell us about a relief effort headed toward Louisiana. But before we do that, let's bring in my friend and partner in crime, Cal Curley, and just say good morning to Cal and see how he's doing. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really good. So, anyway, Kyle, you've had some busy days, haven't you?
It's been pretty busy, yeah. Once a storm happens and it gets in the Gulf and I go into full coverage mode, I pretty much live 3 hours at a time based on those updates.
I can see it. I can see that you have. You know, my wife Ann and I were talking. I saw this quote from Patty Crosby that she put up. She said, "When the world pauses, there's time enough to see what is always there." You know, it's interesting how you might have been headed to go fish on one of the coast piers. I was headed up to the Mississippi Delta. When the hurricanes come, it's just like everything else just we hit the big pause button, and we're all, sort of focused on, okay, what do we have that matters and how do we protect it? It's amazing how a hurricane just caused a massive shift in focus, isn't it?
Yeah, there's really no other better explanation about how life goes on outside of the area than if you were to check social media, check your email, because you still get the same spam emails, and you're like, don't you people understand we're in a hurricane? Quit sending me this stuff. But no, they really don't. And automated bots, they just continue to pound out information, and they don't care what's happening in your neck of the woods.
They really don't. That is for sure. Anyway, Cal, thank you for all you do to help keep that moving. Why don't we do this? Let's move over to Sean Tindell, who is a good friend of Coast View. These guys have been super busy. And first of all, let me just say good morning to you, Sean. How are you doing?
Oh, doing good. Good morning to you too, Ricky.
You made a good point. You know, I said this yesterday on Coast View with Fofo Gillich and Billy Hughes that you don't want to use the word dodge the bullet, because if you're a Mississippian without power, you're a Mississippian who's got water in their house or other challenges, you don't feel like we dodged anything. But what was your point you made, which I thought was a good one?
Well, the reality is we dodged the brunt of the storm, and I think that's the point that we're trying to get across. Is especially those of us that have gone through Katrina and other major hurricanes. We've seen the mass destruction and devastation it can cause, and the reality is we know our good friends over in Louisiana have suffered that, but that's not to say that we haven't had property damage, and as of last night. Obviously, that we haven't had loss of life, and that's the tragedy of it. Is folks are feeling a lot of pain right now. Folks are feeling loss, and the reality is it was a bad storm that extended not just from down around Grand Isle, Louisiana, it came all the way over to Mississippi, all the way over to West Mississippi and George County, and caused major damage and major heartache.
So let's go ahead and get to that in case people have not heard about the really unfortunate series of events that occurred that caused just a really tough tragedy there. Why don't you give us the details of that?
Well, I can tell you a little bit that we do know. Of course, on Highway 26 between Wiggins and Lucedale, there was a heavy amount of rain that had been coming down for a 24-hour period due to Hurricane Ida. There was a washout of the road. It was at night, so it was dark, it's unlit, and cars coming back and forth along that heavily traveled road came upon a section of road that was just no longer there and ended up in the washout. There's been 2 confirmed deaths. Three folks are in critical conditioning with life-threatening injuries. Others are injured, and so they're healing, hopefully. But it's it's a very, very, very sad situation. And really, on that heavily traveled road, it's going to disrupt folks going back and forth for a while as those repairs are made. And for those families, obviously, it's a very difficult time and situation. So, heartbreaking. It's really why we emphasize, the storm might pass by, but you really got to continue to be vigilant and careful when you're traveling on roads, particularly at night. It could be a fallen limb, it could be a fallen tree, it could be rising rainwaters, or it could be a washout like this. And if it's at night and people are going down the road doing 50 or 60 miles an hour, they're just not going to have the time to react.
Well, you and I have been on that road many a time, man, and that's one of those roads. It's in good shape to begin with, but it's a country, highway, and tends not to be congested. So you have a tendency to kind of go in autopilot when you're on that road, especially at night. Probably drive a little too fast. I know that I've been guilty of that. But it sounds like the kind of scenario that you would see if you encounter really dense fog, and it's kind of hard to, if the people in front of you have crashed. It's hard for the next person to know that's what's occurred inside that fog when you're thinking about a collapsed highway in the middle of the night. Man, that's a tough story to hear, buddy.
Yeah, it's very tragic, and again, for us down on the coast, very close to home, and just something that you hate to see. And look, 26. I think it was about 15 years ago. There was a group of young college students that were hit by a log truck. Dense fog situation like you were kind of alluding to there, and folks are moving along that road and it's dark or it's foggy. It's hard to see those perilous conditions that are ahead of you.
I knew every one of those kids. Incidentally, they went to school with my kids, and it was just such a tragedy. God bless them all. That was just a terrible moment in our history in coastal Mississippi. So, listen, I had the opportunity to talk to Ron Barnes from Coastal Electric this morning. He said that Harrison County is back up completely. Hancock County has a few left in flooded areas. They have about 9,000 in Pearl River down. As far as power is concerned right now, they expect to finish sometime today. I sent a note to Jeff Shepard from Mississippi Power. Have not heard back from him yet. I'll hear back from him before the show's over. I'll give you sort of the latest on that as well. But you've got people scattered all across the state. For the most part, in terms of widespread damage, we've been lucky, but you still got some pockets of challenge across Mississippi. How's your team doing?
They're doing good. I got to tell you, from my perspective, and I mentioned this yesterday, growing up on the coast, I've dealt with hurricanes my whole life. The preparation ahead of time, moving boats to Back Bay, moving stuff out of your yard, getting things prepped and ready, boards up, and then in the aftermath, picking up limbs, cutting trees, doing all those things you got to do to repair and get back to life. One of the things that's been very unique with this job is seeing it from the first responders' perspective that, while everybody else is getting ready, getting their stuff protected after the storm, fixing their stuff, cleaning up, these first responders, they don't have time to actually be there with their family. They don't have time to protect their property. They're out there trying to protect each and every one of us. And so it puts a lot of pressure on them, a lot of unknowns while their family's at home. And so a lot of respect and appreciation for those first responders, especially in these storms, the lengths they go to protect us. And so for our folks, we had our MBN agents from across the state, highway patrol troopers from across the state, our Office of Homeland Security folks were down on the coast. Our Commercial Trucking Enforcement Division sent resources down to the coast, and we tried to keep them situated in Hattiesburg so they could respond to the coast or Southwest Mississippi, because we knew that both areas of the state were going to see an impact from the storm. And so we mobilized, we put our assets together, and now that we've realized again that Mississippi has avoided a brunt of the storm and the major impacts in Louisiana, we're now starting to turn our attention to the folks at Louisiana State Police and ways that we can go over there and assist Louisiana as they're trying to make their way through this as well.
Well, I said it's really, we know resiliency. Louisiana knows resiliency as well. But, man, you look at the challenges they have as the governor and just about every major state leader has pointed out, and as well as in the conversation with Mayor Fofo Gillich and Billy Hughes yesterday. You think about our situation and getting a handle on it as quickly as possible. Then you start to figure out, okay, now how can we shift our attention to helping our neighbors? Because they're going to need us for a while, aren't they, Sean?
Oh, they are, and we've been on the other side of the spectrum. Of course, it was us and Louisiana with Katrina, but folks from Alabama and Destin coming over to help, and folks from Jackson coming down to help. I just remember how much it meant to me when friends arrived or help arrived to help us, clean out my house and cut the sheetrock out and start rebuilding. And that's where they're going to be. And we've all felt it. And I'm confident that Mississippi's going to do its part to go over there and lend a helping hand.
Man, oh man, trying times. It's you don't have to watch much of the news to see that it's going to be tough for them. But when you look at the levee system in New Orleans holding up, what a great test this was for that levee system. It held up really well. They had some overtopping down in Plaquemines Parish. They had areas like Lafitte and Laplace that had significant rescue efforts underway, et cetera. But in the scheme of everything, it could have been so much worse for them. And of course, they've got this really sort of huge problem now with power. And it's going to could potentially weeks. I mean, I know they're working through some workarounds and whatever, but it's going to take a while. I think that what's going to happen is that during that time, you're going to see. In fact, I talked to two companies yesterday that are literally relocating here in coastal Mississippi, sort of for the long haul until this thing sort of gets worked out, because their life goes on for a lot of the New Orleans businesses, and they've got to be able to do that. I think there's a number of people who are here in Mississippi sort of awaiting the situation. I've got some friends staying at my place up in the Mississippi Delta, his entire family from the cutoff area, and they have huge challenges that they're going to be facing. But I think we're going to see a lot of Louisianians in Mississippi during that time. And my advice would be, if you see someone from Louisiana, say a prayer for them, give them a smile and see if there's anything you can do to help them, because it's going to take some time. That's what they did for us after Katrina, even though they were facing what they were facing. And we'll certainly give it in return. Anything else you want to say about that before we shift gears?
No, just I would say we're probably going to be putting together some efforts to supplies, if people would like to donate some supplies and things like that, so that we can take them over there to the folks in Louisiana. And I imagine we'll be doing that over the next week or two. So we'll be getting stuff like that out.
Thank you very much. We'll see you after this break.
Oh, we went to break a minute ago.
Yeah, Cal, I can't see you. That was the problem. I don't know why my view is like it is, but I cannot see you.
Well, we're done live. We went to break a minute ago, so I mean, we'll just have to.
Nothing. That's fine. We'll come back to the supply thing after the break. Cal, how can I see you again? I don't see the
view to grid view.
I don't. Let's see. Hang on a second.
I'm looking at something. It looks like I'm in California at a park, and I can see y'all's faces, but it's kind of strange.
Your view has been changed. So go change your grid view too. Kyle, where I can't make that thing come up that I saw a minute ago.
I mean, it's.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, I literally cannot make that view. What's going to have to happen, Kyle? Until I can't fix this, so you're going to have to come and choose background. I cannot find it. Hey, Mike, how are you doing?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing really well. So thank you for joining us. So just kind of mute your phone and hang tight. And I'll be with you when we get to that point. Sound good?
All right. I was trying to see if I could jump on the stairs.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. Thank you. We're good. So you just put your phone on mute and we'll be good. Kyle, I can't find how to change this darn view, man. Dang it.
You using the Skype app?
Yeah.
We got about 30 seconds.
Ah, darn it. You just come in and tell me we got a minute. Okay. Hey, Mike, turn your camera on, but keep your phone muted.
He is.
Mike is?
Oh, I don't know. Not Mike. I don't know.
Yeah, not you, Mike. Not Mayor Mike. I'm talking about Mike, the other Mike Davis. Okay, good. I'll probably come to you, Mike, before the segment's over.
Ricky, we're live.
Welcome back to Coast View. I have Sean Tindell, the Commissioner of Public Safety for the state of Mississippi, and we're just visiting. We had we had to go to break before we could finish that last conversation. Had a little timing issue. So anyway, we're back with Sean. Talk to me real quick. What they missed was the part about the relief effort you guys are working on.
Yeah, we're working on getting together an opportunity for folks to drop off supplies. We'll come up with a location if they want to bring, buy water, cleaning supplies, things that we know the folks in Louisiana are going to need. We're going to have a couple of U-Haul vans and 18-wheelers available to take that stuff over there. So we'll probably set up some drop-off points and get that out through our social media and through U-Haul and other forms of media to let folks know it's a way to help and contribute and to ensure that their donations are getting to the people that they need.
Well, that's terrific. I appreciate that. So, tell me about your day today. I mean, what does a day in the life of Sean Tindell look like? I assume you're headed to George County, huh?
Yeah, that's our plan, is to head down to George County, meet with some officials there, check out what's going on. I can tell you yesterday, of course, I woke up on the coast with my family, finished the day by, going downtown to Gulfport and other areas. Then hopped in my car and came to Jackson, met with the governor and the folks at MEMA. We did a press conference, get up this morning, of course, to the tragic news that we had overnight, and come in here and do an interview with you fine people. And then we've got a team meeting at 10 o'clock with our DPS executive team, going over what everybody's doing and where they're going and how we're assisting, coming up with our strategies on how to move forward. I'll head down to George County and maybe, if I'm lucky, get to have dinner with my wife and kids before we head back up here tomorrow for more meetings. So that's
Sean, thank you for your leadership. Appreciate everything that you're doing. And, so sorry you guys have to deal with the George County situation, but we'll pray for those families and hopefully hope that they can get Highway 26 up and running again relatively soon, because I know that's a really critical highway for those people in that area. So hang in there, my friend.
I will, and I'd like to encourage people to slow down. We're still right after the storm, and there will be there'll be other perils that'll come across our roadways, and they just need to take their time and to assume that something bad's around the corner.
For sure. I mean, that disaster last night in George County certainly makes the point clear that with high rivers and creeks and all the other stuff, anything could be happening. So just be aware, be very aware. Okay, Sean, take care, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Bye.
You bet. And we're gonna turn now to Mike Davis. He's a longtime friend. He's someone who's been active in the community. He's active in tourism. And we exchanged some notes last night, and he's involved in an effort that is called Comeback Coolers. It's a really interesting organization, and they're doing a fundraising effort now related to what they can do to help people in Louisiana. And I invited Mike to come and join me this morning and tell me more about that effort. Mike, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, Ricky?
I'm doing great. So tell me about, give us an idea of what Comeback Coolers is all about and what your goal is.
So ironically, about 5 years ago this week, Comeback Coolers started off with a small mission of collecting goods and canned goods and sodas and waters and just some very basic items for victims of a storm. The first mission lasted for about 25 different coolers. And the idea behind the coolers is that coastal folks will decorate the coolers. They will send them out into the devastation areas. And then from there, it just gives the folks an opportunity to have something special that walks into their lives at a very, very dark moment. That effort has grown from 25 coolers on the first mission to over 2,000 coolers that we delivered last. We had a lot of storms to deliver to.
So tell us about this. Is such an interesting idea, and it's really kind of getting back to the basics of life, and it's a great way to show appreciation, but also give someone relief. What's in those coolers?
So those coolers are actually pretty simple. You have waters, you have sports drinks, you have maybe a high energy drink, some oranges, ice, and baby wipes. So that's the basics that go in there. And just imagine if you've been devastated and you've lost a lot of your personal items, and just someone comes strolling up to you with a cooler that's decorated with a personalized message, giving everyone hope to come back and rebuild stronger.
Well, that's terrific. And by the way, a message back to Kyle, who's at the studio. I have the grid view now, Kyle, and we'll make sure to be able to see that timer now. So coming back to you, Mike, I really appreciate you guys working together. So if someone wants to help the effort, what can they do?
So there's a couple different ways to do it. First thing I would suggest do is go to our website at comebackcoolers.com, or just follow us on Facebook and just engage in the conversations that we're having over there. We are having a packing party for all donations on Friday evening, 6 o'clock at the Ocean Springs Lumber building. And from there, the next morning we'll be leaving from Ocean Springs to go over to some of the devastated areas over in Louisiana. Not sure which areas that we're going to be able to get into right now, but we're working on that plan, and we'll be delivering the coolers at that point. In the meantime, between now and Friday, you're welcome to go to any store, pick up a cooler, a hardback cooler, if you will, and decorate it with an inspiring message telling people in Louisiana that we're thinking about them and we love them, and we'll come in there to help them.
Wow, that's such an interesting idea, and I appreciate you guys doing it. People can also give using PayPal. How would they do that?
Sure. So we got a Venmo account. We've got PayPal account. Just simply, again, go to our website or go to the Facebook page. You can find it there. But comebackcoolers.com is our address, as well as our PayPal account. So,
hey, so Mike, before we get off the phone, tell us what your daytime job is.
Well, I am actually the director of sales at the IP Casino in Biloxi. We have a little effort going on right now to reopen our building at 2 o'clock today. So I'm heading right into work right after this.
No rest for the weary, huh, buddy?
Not at all. Not at all.
No rest for the weary. Listen, thanks for your effort, and let us know how we can help again if you're going to do another run. So if you have any questions about this effort, tell them where they can go get more information. One last time.
Yeah, the easiest way to do is just follow us on Facebook. There's a lot of messaging, a lot of information on that. Scroll through the pages. If you ask a question, please give us a little bit of time to get back to you. We are actually being overwhelmed in a good way from the responses and people that want to help. So we will answer all the questions and get as much information out there as possible. And we're also posting on a daily basis our updates and what's needed and where you can go.
Well, Mike, thank you so much. I appreciate us connecting last night, and thanks for kind of changing your schedule and joining me today. And good luck to you guys. The people in Louisiana need us, and I appreciate your work. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Ricky. I appreciate it.
You bet so much. I appreciate you. So anyway, coming back over to my friend Mike Smith, the mayor of Waveland. Mike, why don't you come on in and join me now? And first of all, let me just say good morning. I'm sure you have to be one of the tired mayors on the coast these days.
Yes, sir. Good morning to you. It's a pretty day, though.
It is. It is a very pretty day. I know, hey, someone, I think, let's see, wait, it was either Billy or Billy Hughes or Fofo Gillich said yesterday that, we had water. We expected to have water. And in some cases, maybe we had a little bit more. But in the scheme of things, given what could have occurred, we dodged the brunt of the storm. So what's the assessment situation there in Waveland these days?
It's exactly the same. I would reiterate what Mayor Hughes or Popo had said. We expected the water. We got the water. But it's not as bad as what it could have been. I mean, obviously, I feel sorry for the folks down in Grand Isle and Laplace and those areas of Louisiana, New Orleans, because, it was eerie. It coming on shore the 29th of August, because I remember very vividly the 29th of August in 2005. So thank God it wasn't like that for us over here.
Thank God. But boy, Waveland of all places, Waveland, I would say if there was an ultimate ground zero for Mississippi for Hurricane Katrina, it was Waveland. And it literally changed your life, didn't it?
Yeah, it changed the whole landscape of the city. I think it changed everybody. I was the assistant fire chief then, on duty at the fire station when Katrina hit. Water started coming in the front door at 10 o'clock a.m. that morning, and I knew we were in trouble when water started coming in. But it's definitely a life-changing event, and I'm sure that Mayor Carmerdale, I was texting him up until the time they got hit, and then of course I think he lost cell service. But it's a small island, and we're a small city, so we can certainly relate to them. You know, so yeah, it's like you right though. Ground zero, we are the ultimate ground zero.
For the worst natural disaster in American history, I might add. You know, the aerial photographs from Grand Isle are obviously devastating, but I'm surprised, actually. I'm surprised that, you know, what some of the rebuilding they've done there. They built higher, they built stronger, and when you take that helicopter shot over the area there, there's a lot of standing buildings, and they've weathered the storm, pretty well, considering. And we'll talk a little bit more about Louisiana and the potential comparisons, the need to build back stronger, how the infrastructure resilience that we have. When we get tested, maybe we'll perform pretty well like Louisiana did. So when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Mayor Mike Smith from the city of Waveland. We'll see you after this break.
Okay, buddy.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi, and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fl.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors here, the show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking very hard-to-find PPE items to make our community a safer place. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. They were even sending thousands of dollars of PPE supplies free to local schools in need with help from other local business leaders. The next time your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider a local company that supports your ball teams, cheerleaders, and area homeless. Consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply, the local guys that keep your prices fair, your service and selection excellent, and your health our business. Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm. SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and,
Wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show
on SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back to Coast View. You know what? This is a special live edition of Hurricane Ida Aftermath, and we've been talking to mayors over the last couple of days. And of course, we had Commissioner Sean Tindell just a second ago. And then with efforts like Mike Davis already focused on Louisiana. But we have with us at this moment Mike Smith, the mayor of Waveland, good friend of Coast View. And, when we went to break, Mike, we were talking about, and then we talked during the break a little bit more about how surprised we are to sort of see that Grand Isle, while they had incredible destruction, they weathered it from an infrastructure point of view, and a lot of homes literally along the beach survived because they've been built back stronger and higher. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? This whole notion of building back stronger and strengthening your infrastructure. It's a sign of what might come for us if we get hit. What's your thoughts about that?
You're absolutely right, and as you look across the entire coast and being a part of the rebuilding effort in Waveland, all of our municipal buildings were lost during Katrina, and they were well-built, sturdy buildings too, but built out of wood and not built to hurricane standards. But all our buildings now barely get any damage from the storms that we've had since Katrina. And so that just goes to show you they are, really built back well. But it's not only just the municipal buildings, but people, FEMA's requirements and the city's requirements have just made everything, not so much bigger, but so much better. I will say that.
Well, the bill, I remember after Katrina, there was this feeling that we're getting punished because the highest storm surge ever recorded in the United States came here. And as a result of that, the ABFE requirements, essentially the floor level of your house, the bottom floor level of your house, where it needed to be in terms of sea level. In a way, that was almost like punishing us. But you have to look at it from this perspective. Had Ida hit here, it would have been the ultimate test of that system. And what they have determined, what FEMA has determined, is that when you build back higher, that your uninsured losses are reduced very significantly, and your insured losses, I might add, as well. So having new building codes that strengthen the actual structure of the homes with hurricane straps and all the other things such as that, and then by building back higher, it's the goal is to try to reduce the amount of damage, and that really kind of bears it out. In Waveland, you guys didn't have a lot of homes had been there for quite a long time. They weren't built up high, and we saw what happened. We saw what that test looks like, didn't we, Mike?
We did, and it was odd enough that that Sunday before Katrina, I went around and took photos of all the beachfront houses and up our business street, Coleman Avenue. And so all of those houses were gone, every last one of them. And so, those photos are, provide a fun memory for a lot of people, but it also goes to show you that that they were too low. And so you're right, we felt punished and still feel punished in certain ways. On Coleman Avenue, especially if you look at it today, it looks much like it did after Katrina. It's bare for the most part, but it's because of the elevation requirements down at the beach. It's VE 27 zone, velocity zone, 25 feet or 27 feet elevation. But if you look at our lighthouse that we built a couple of years ago, it is built to the lowest horizontal member is 25 feet above the ground, above natural ground. So the water can come in and flow in underneath and flow back out and won't ever disturb the lighthouse. That's just an example.
I remember so well, actually, from the conversation we had a few months ago, is you talked about your vision and the evolving vision for Coleman Avenue and this effort to bring people back, to have, make it a walkable community, but also do it within sort of the reality of needing to meet all these requirements for insurance purposes and infrastructure strengthening purposes. How are you doing with that effort?
Well, it's still, getting money now is very difficult to do, but I think that the more storms that we have is the better need for what our vision is, and that is elevating any businesses down on the beach, and it's very expensive to elevate a business, right? So the city's going to have a hand in that in order for somebody to do it, and so that's what we're hoping to get grant funding from this GCRF fund. To elevate our businesses along Beach Boulevard, where we can bring our downtown community back.
No doubt about it. Hey, have you looked into the COVID money? Is there a possibility that some of that could be used for economic development efforts that you would have in downtown Waveland?
Well, the round that's going around now that came down now is can't be used for that. It's more for roads and bridges and that sort of stuff. And so our sewage is a big thing across everywhere, especially in Mississippi, that has a need to replace the sewage. So we are doing that, which will loosen up some other monies that we can put toward our effort trying to get people back to our downtown.
I commend you on that. I mean, some of the best mayors in the country. I can't help but think about Mayor Riley in Charleston and others, the ones that really, stood the test of time and stayed focused and built amazing communities, had a major passion. They were doggedly determined to achieve their vision. And sometimes you just have to, have more energy than the next guy and stay focused, and eventually things are going to happen. And that's where you are right now, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's, once we had that long range plan or the vision, we haven't wavered from that whatsoever. And, there's different pots of money that you can go after. And so things are so expensive, and especially to build it to a degree that a hurricane won't take it away. So, we're looking at maybe piecemeal from different parts or different funds to where we can get this done. And I will tell you, which is really important, that I've been in real close contact. Actually, he's a friend of mine now, Mr. McDonald, who's over the Corps of Engineers in Mobile, looking at elevating our beach road, providing some shoreline protection, because I will tell you, as much as we love New Orleans and Louisiana, the levee system puts more water on us than we've ever had before. And so they're going to help us with studies, and hopefully we can elevate our beach road to protect some of these north properties.
Wow, that sounds like the kind of thing that needs to be done. I can't help but think about Galveston, Texas, and what they did in Galveston and how it paid dividends. It's an expensive proposition, but it has really been proven to be the right approach if you're really interested in protecting yourself from future storm surge. You're obviously very familiar with what they did in Galveston, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And, South Carolina, I think, is looking at something similar as putting a levee system kind of around the city or the bay to protect. Same thing that I'm looking at doing.
So let's shift gears for a second. Just overall, I'm just curious, before the hurricane, before you were back in the news again, giving reports from Waveland, how are things going there?
Things were going really well. I mean, we've had a stellar year when it comes to income, and I'm sure stimulus had a lot to do with that. But we've increased, the year, so we were reassessed. Our mill value jumped up more than it has in history, as far as I know, and so that's helpful. It's not good for it's going to cost the homeowners a little bit more in their property tax. We didn't go up on any millage, just the value of the mill went up. But we were doing really well in spite of this whole COVID thing, which I hate.
Yeah, so for sure. We're going to come back to COVID here in just a second. I'm curious. I had been in touch with officials from Bay St. Louis, and there had been just incredible run on real estate. A lot of people from Louisiana, for a matter of fact, coming over, but not just Louisiana, but I would say for sure Louisiana was most of those. Waveland was at once literally thought to be a part of Louisiana. Literally, if you go back in the history, you and I talked about it at some point. Have you seen a run on land values and home values there in Waveland as well?
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. It's, the overflow from the city of Bay St. Louis, which is pretty much built up. The overflow is certainly coming down. It's trickling down here. But even despite that, our land values we're at an all-time low. But give you an example, a beachfront lot, 50-foot wide, 100 or so feet deep, was selling for $75,000 before. Now they're $325,000. So
wow.
It shows you what the land value is really doing in the city of Waveland. So I'm happy about that.
This is Mayor Mike Smith from the city of Waveland. Mike, if you don't mind, hang in there with us, and I'd like to ask you a few questions about the COVID situation in the final segment. We'll see you after this break.
Okay, thanks.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Del Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera slips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Mayor Mike Smith, who's the mayor of the city of Waveland, good friend of Coast View, someone who I have a lot of respect for. He's been in city, you know, he has had a passion for the city for 35 years, 28 as a fireman, and then 7 years as the mayor of the city of Waveland. You know, we were talking about strengthening and all that. I couldn't help but notice on NOLA.com, I used to be the president publisher of NOLA Media Group, and NOLA.com and Times-Picayune are part of the company. And, you know, it seems like New Orleanians are having to deal with what's going to be a very significant blackout, could last weeks. But when you consider the fact that the New Orleans levee system performed, as they say, exceptionally well in combating Ida, it could have been so much worse. And you know, if you go down into to the deeper bayou parishes, lots of challenges there. But in the scheme of things, it could have been so much worse. And I think that the whole issue now really is just understanding that the strengthening and the levee system and all of that really contributed greatly to that city's current situation. Even though they're going to have some tough times ahead, it could have been so much worse. So Mayor, let's shift gears a little bit and come back to the current COVID situation. I pulled something up that it was something that someone posted that I think is pretty compelling, and it talked about the ages of the people who were being treated in the ICU, people who had died during their tenure, and the ages 48, 50, 66, 85, 78, 49, 60, 23, 55, 51, 61, 78, 69, 42, 46. These are people, 97% of them unvaccinated. These are people who had died during this person's tenure in the ICU. I visited Singing River, Ocean Springs, 16 people in the ICU, all of them on ventilators in the surgical intensive care, 12 of them all on ventilators, 3 additional people in the trauma unit in the emergency room on ventilators. I mean, it's a tough situation, and we're talking about Ida now for sure. Ida's a top story for the moment, but the ongoing disaster that we're facing in the state of Mississippi is COVID. What's your latest thinking on that, Mayor?
You know, we can't, like you said, Ida is in the news today, but we can't forget about this major hurtful virus that is just replicating itself. I mean, daily. It is killing my friends, your friends, family members. And so I think vaccinated, and look, I was very leery about being vaccinated myself. I'm a kidney transplant recipient of going on 6 years now. And, I was real reluctant on getting this vaccine, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad that I did. And I just had my booster last week. So it is, with ranges between 4,000 and 7,000 new cases every day in the state of Mississippi. And that's alarming. It truly is alarming. It's very scary. Hancock County alone is a small county, but we've been, averaging between 100 and 200 new cases a day ourselves. So, people have to get vaccinated. We're not mandating vaccines, but vaccines need to be given. You need to take the vaccine if you don't have it.
I should say a friend, somebody I've known for an awful long time, but every single day he sends me videos and the latest news story on why the vaccines are terrible and all of this. And finally I told him, I said, man, look, I don't know who you're sending this to, but I hope that someone who got this didn't end up in an ICU on a ventilator and die. Because, this is, you're spending too much time on this, and hopefully people aren't listening. I can't help, Mayor, but remind people of one of the things that Lee Bond, the CEO of Singing River Health System, told me, and then I saw it with my own eyes when I went there, from one of the nurses that treated this man. The last words out of his mouth before he went on the ventilator and then died was, "I wish I had not listened to Facebook." There's so much misinformation out there, but you guys are working hard to make free vaccinations available to people in your city. You actually were going to do some today. What's the latest thinking on that?
We were, because of the alarming numbers out of Hancock County and the state of Mississippi, I set up, and in fact, I talked to Lee Bond over at Singing River to get them to, and they wanted to partner with us as well, to set up a free vaccination site today from 11 to 4. Everything was good to go, and then Ida showed up. So we had to postpone it for a week. You let everything settle back down. But we will have a vaccination site set up, and hopefully by then I'll have another site for testing as well. That's a big ask. But, these, and we're going to do it in a big parking lot so that you can do your paperwork, get your shot, and go park for you 15 minutes before you leave to make sure you don't have any side effects from the shot. But I think it's really, really important that you get the vaccine, because you're right, it's unvaccinated people that are dying.
97% of the ones at this particular ICU that I mentioned a minute ago with the ages. But, I would strongly encourage you, now would be the time to get the vaccine. Don't find yourself in a situation where you're going to be challenged. So many people I know have had to deal with this. Some have died, and usually when it hits home is when someone decides, I think I'm going to get the vaccination. But don't wait till it hits home. Just go get it. Anyway, Mayor, thank you for your leadership. We'll stay in touch with you. You guys got a little bit of a cleanup effort ahead, but you'll get it done in a few days, and life will get back to normal in Waveland. And good luck to you. We'll get back to you in a couple of weeks and see how things are going.
Thank y'all so much. We really appreciate the time.
You bet. This has been Mike Smith, the Mayor of Waveland. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.